All right, we are officially live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the comic book community. My name is Chris, and this is my channel, We Love Comics. Today is the 14th of October. I cannot believe it's freezing out right now, and it is exactly 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on Saturday, as promised by my comic book store, they were giving out, well, not giving out, but allowing people to take home their Walking Dead 15th anniversary comics. These are bagged comics where there are several different style comics that you can get in each one. There are plenty of variants that they said that might be hidden in them, like original sketch art, things of that nature. I have 10 of them. Now, my local store, actually said they were only going to limit it to 2 per person, but I pre-ordered mine months ago, so I was able to get 10 of them. They only gave me one issue number 1. I'm a little disappointed in that. I'm sure everybody wanted them, but I have 10 issues that go from issues 100 down to issue number 1. And let me put on the video camera, otherwise you're not going to be able to see it. I was able to get 2 of the 19s, which I'm happy about. So as you can see, I have my 10 books. These have not been opened yet. I'm going to open them live, and we'll see maybe if I am lucky enough to get one of those original art pieces. So I would love that, especially if it was issue number 19 with the J. Scott Campbell. So if you're just tuning in, make sure you stay until the end, because I always do a surprise subscriber shout out. In this with the live, you don't even have to be a subscriber, because I'm not going to check. So if you're not and you still get the shout out, hey, that's quite all right. Make yourself known. So to be the one that gets my attention, place some comments, and place some good comments. Don't just say, hello. Make up some dialogue. So I want to say welcome. Corey Maxwell's been here since last night, so thank you, Corey. That guy Noah, Huff House Art, good to see you again. Unruly Simeon, not sure if I've seen you before, but welcome. Red Matos, good to see you again. Manny the Comic Collector, he said his shop had no limit. I'm sure many of them are that way. And he said that the number 19 sold out quick. Yeah, because of J. Scott Campbell, that doesn't surprise me one bit. Some stores limit, like my comic store, they do limit like some of the books, which I think is fine, because I know there'd be some people that just buy 50 of them off the thing. The only reason, like I said, I got 10 is because I pre-ordered them, so it's not like I just took 10 off the shelves and kept other people for getting them. So to me, if you want multiple copies, my suggestion is pre-order. So this way you're not taking away from other people's opportunity. But they literally, at my store, had an entire shelf that is meant for several different comics just for The Walking Dead. So they got a lot of them. So if it's really true that some of these are the 1 in 100, they probably had like 3 of those. So that'd be awesome if I had all 3. But we're going to start unbagging them now. But I want to say hello to people coming in. Luis Ramirez, Wayne Cohen, never seen you before, but welcome. Ali Bay, welcome. Betty Boulin, and forgive me if I say these wrong. Betty Boulin asks, so these reprints or second prints? I'm not really familiar what they are yet, because I haven't opened them up yet, so I guess we'll find out. I would assume they're reprints, but we'll see, because I do know from what I've seen, they do have different covers. But we'll open them up and we'll see if they're actually just the same issue with different covers, or are they reprints of that particular number? So if anybody knows, they can put that in the comments section. Manny the Comic Collector says, I saw a guy with a stack of 19. Yeah, hopefully he pre-ordered them. But, I mean, this is one of those gimmicks, and you can see it does work. And there's always that, what if, did I get the one? I know there are, like, for example, Virgin variants. There's black and white variants. There's black and white Virgin variants and regular covers. I don't know if they're all the same print, or one is more rare than the other, because I remember when they did the one for Harley Quinn, and I think another one was for Superman, or something like that, they had them all the same print. So that's a little gimmicky. But here we go. We're going to start with issue 100 and go down. So this is issue number 100. And like I said, I have only one of each except for 19. I was able to get 2 of those. So now I've seen people rip these bags open from the back part here. When you do that, you're bending the corners. So when people, like I saw somebody like literally ripping these open and then saying, oh, look, the comic is damaged. Well, what a surprise. I mean, if you're literally pulling it like this and it's bending the corners, it's definitely going to end up, potentially at least, damaging the comic. So the smartest way to do it, and the safest way, you have to, of course, make sure the comic is all the way down past this part, is to cut it from the top and just slide it out. And we find out the results. All right, so here we go. And I welcome everybody. So issue number 100, we start out with... All right, so this is the black and white version. So that's a good way to start out. How many in each pack? There's only 1. So let's see. All right, so let's look at the book. Let's see what it says. Walking Dead 100, 15th anniversary. So let's see if the whole... Yeah. So, as you can see in the end, that's what happens to Glenn. So basically, it's a reprint. So it's not like they just did like a number 1 issue and then just did different covers. So unless it's different, they're basically going to be reprints of the original with a new cover. So that answers that question right off the bat. So we start out with one of the black and whites. So now we're going to issue number 92, which is the first full Jesus, I believe, first appearance of Jesus. There's 91, there's like a little mini cameo. And you got to be careful when you're cutting these because it's very close to the edge. All right, so what did we get for issue 92? All right, so again, we have the black and white version of the regular cover. Now, one of the things I'm going to show, like especially these are probably going to get pressed because you see this indent here, the line of the bag? It might be hard to see, but it left, see if I can get it. It left a little bit of an imprint. Same thing happened with the comic books of Ultimate Fallout 4. Those books, you need to get pressed, because anything in a bag, because it has this lip, they're all stacked on each other, it's going to create a little bit of an indent. So I actually see it did that, but it didn't break color. So, I mean, this is not one of my favorite covers. It looks, to me, in my opinion, a little cartoonish. But that is issue 92, so 2 for 2 at least with the black and white versions. All right, next one. We have issue number 53. Yeah, and that's so true. Huff House Art says black and white saves on the ink. That's why I think it's so ingenious what they've done, not from our perspective, but from their marketing aspect. I mean, look at blank variants. They sell them for the same price, and they sell you a blank cover, and people love them. Now, it's a cool idea because you can get people to put original art on it, but if you think of it from their business perspective, they're not putting anything on the covers. How much money does that save them? And the same thing, like you said, with the black and white, you're saving on the color ink. You know, that costs money. They don't give you a discount, so I think it's pretty ingenious. All right, so the next one. Okay, so we have the regular cover for 53. Let me see the artwork. It's not bad. So there's 53. All right, next up, 48. That's all right if I haven't gotten the original art yet. Save it for one of the earlier ones, because I'm sure if anybody got the original art for number 1 or 19... You know, that I'm sure they probably instantly would put it on eBay. Me, I would definitely get it graded and put it in my collection. I wouldn't be one of those people that turns around and places it on eBay, but nothing wrong with that if you do it. All right, so let's see what we got for 48. Just have to be careful. Okay. Interesting. All right, so this is the regular cover. Definitely a little bit graphic in nature. That's the one where the governor gets his due. And this one you might be able to see a little better. See right there? The indent. So all of these books are pretty much going to be damaged. And it goes all the way through. So pressings are going to be needed if anybody grades these. So I'm sure some of these, if you ever get a 9.8, it might be a little hard with these kind of things, but you will definitely have to get them pressed. So I'm sure people saw that one a little bit better. So bad job with these with the bags. I mean, anytime they do these bags, to put this lip here, it's guaranteed to ruin the comic. So that's unfortunate. All right, so the next one is number 27. That is the first appearance of the governor. So now we're getting towards the lower numbered books. And again, these ultimately are just reprints of the original book with an original new cover. So unless you really get one of the rare variants, these things probably aren't going to be worth much, to be honest. All right, so we have our first Virgin cover. So this is number 27, first appearance. So this is the black and white Virgin cover. Not bad at all. Very happy about that. But again, like I said, I don't know if, this is going to have a rarer print than the regular one. They could have just done 4 different ones because there's a color and then a Virgin color. Then there is a regular black and white and a Virgin black and white. So I don't know if they're even. If anybody finds out the print run, let me know. But that would assume would be a rarer one, but we don't know. So let me see if there's that indent. Not really. But the one thing I noticed is, I don't know if it's from the ink rubbing off, but these backs, the white backs, show a lot of dirt. So I think there's a lot of ink. Maybe they sent these out before the ink completely dried. So these books are going to be hard to get graded in good grades. All right, so the one most people are looking for, and I was lucky enough to get 2 of these. And Alex, the Comic Quarters here, welcome. He says, Chris, I like the sub crease. It's like a sub crease. Interesting. Yeah, it's pretty much on almost all of them. Some of them worse than others. But yeah, it's this. It happens with every bagged comic. That's why it's like if you're going to get something like Ultimate Fallout 4 graded, make sure you get it pressed. Because the good thing is, even though it leaves an indent, for the most part, it looks like it does not, break color. So if you if you have the comic book pressed, it'll get that out. But I mean, you have to spend extra money to do it, so it is a little bit inconvenient. So if I was to get an original art, I would love it to be this one. But we ended up getting the Virgin color variant. So this is the J. Scott Campbell issue, which I've seen this cover in other videos. I'm not really a huge fan of this one. I mean, to me, most people like J. Scott Campbell. I think he's not bad. I just think, like you can see, he makes the women kind of look like elves. So this is kind of an homage in a way to the original 19. But, yeah, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, you could disagree, I'm not really a huge fan of how he drew Michonne there. But, to each their own. So this is the color Virgin variant. Not bad. So here is my second 19. So let's see what happens. And we got a bunch of people here. So for something where it's just basically cutting open some bags, about 64 people, that's not bad. So welcome and thank you. I always appreciate people coming and watching my videos. And who knows, maybe I'll strike gold. And if I don't, I still had fun doing it anyway. So to me, it's not about, oh, I got to get that mega key thing. I mean, I'd love it if I did, but if I don't, it's not the end of the world. All right, so there is the regular cover. This is the regular colored, quote-unquote, well, I can't even say variant. It would be the regular cover. So not bad, but it looks like I won't have any J. Scott Campbell original art this time around. But that's all right. I still have more to go. This is issue number 7. And Alex, it's true. Everybody loves a good unboxing. Technically, this is an unbagging, but that's all right. Now, how funny would this be if this was the original art and I ended up cutting the bottom of the comic and then it's labeled as trimmed? Amateur, I wonder how many people actually had that happen, where they were actually maybe cutting something out and they cut the comic. Alright, so issue number 7. Oh, God, this got a major crease and a major stain. But this is the black and white Virgin variant. And look at this. Right here. See, that's almost like a fingerprint. And I haven't even touched it yet. So I think whoever bagged these... Well, they do it manually. But can you see that right there? Let me see on the inside if there's something there. But yeah, these are showing a lot of dirt. That's unfortunate. And... you could see, let me put it in the light. There you go. See that crease? Look at that major crease. Right there. So, yeah, and it goes all the way through. So that's a real shame. I mean, you're spending a lot of money. I mean, $3.99. I'm actually surprised it's not more. If Marvel would have done this, these would have probably been $6.99. But, I mean, if you're going to pay money for these books, to have them basically all be damaged, that's not a good job on... Image's behalf on doing this. I mean, if anything, they should have put a backing board on the back of this. So I will definitely not say they did a good job with the packaging. Because as you can see, most of them are not destroyed, but definitely not in mint condition. Alright, so we got 2 more left. We got issue number 2, which is the first appearance of Coral and Maggie. No, I'm sorry, not Maggie, because that's issue 10. His wife, Lori. So here we go. Alright, so yeah, so these are all, expect them to be damaged. It's unfortunate. Alright, so we have the regular cover of issue number 2. And, Autumn Dog Comics says, oh man, press these. To be honest, none of these honestly are really worth pressing. Because I have a feeling, especially knowing Robert Kirkman and his gimmicks, I can pretty much safely say without knowing that I can probably almost guarantee that all 4 of these editions have the same print run. But most people assume, oh, I got, like, for example, oh, you got the black and white Virgin variant. I bet you it's the same print run as the regular one. I mean, I could be wrong. But knowing that Kirkman is a master at gimmicks, I mean, look what he did with Die, Die, Die. Look what he does with Oblivion Song. I mean, it would not shock me if all 4 are the same print. So none of these, honestly, once they're out of the bag, they're probably not worth anything. So, I mean, it's still a gimmick. It's a cool idea. It gave me an excuse for a video. So to me, it's worth it. And here's an upside down one. So either way, it's issue number 1. So this is the last one. So I definitely will not be getting these pressed because, honestly, they're not worth grading, in my opinion. I mean, these are not going to be valuable by any means. So unless I'm wrong and those, like, for example, the black and white Virgin variants are rarer, which I doubt, these really aren't going to be worth much once they're taken out of the bag. But we'll see. Here's the last one. What did I get for issue number 1? And I'll take it, but this is the regular cover color. So it's not the variant. So that's it. Those are the books. So we got, and again, let me show this. There you go, right there. You can see the crease line, the damage, and it goes all the way through to the other side. So the complete book has the marking and indent all the way through. So that is very disappointing. I mean, honestly, I don't care if I didn't get the major variants or anything, or I didn't get any of the sketches and everything. What I'm disappointed in is the condition that these comics came in. So as you could see, like one of the few Virgin variant ones I got, I mean, there's like some major stains. I mean, dry cleaning would probably help it, but I'm not going to do that. It's got the creases. So overall, my opinion of these, if you didn't get them, you may want to save your money. Or wait until somebody finds one of the original art and spend the extra money, you know, buying it. But I'd wait a little while. if somebody has the original art, they're probably going to sell it for anywhere from $500 to $1,000. In my opinion, that's crazy. Wait a little while, and the price will go down. So here's the other version that I got for $19. This is the Virgin black and white variant for $27. Got the regular for $48. And Comic Lover Omega says, what issues are they? They are the actual issue, but they're just a reprint. So basically, it's the original. It's a reprint of the original issue with a new cover. And we showed that with issue number 100. So a regular edition of 53. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people with the regular editions. Here's the black and white 92 with the cartoon Jesus basically wanting to shoot his own hand. And last but not least, the black and white of issue number 100. So the comics were pretty much overall damaged. No original art. I'm sure many people are going to be discouraged if... Oh, I just got stabbed by a staple. Well, that's good. Something literally just stabbed my finger. So they're dangerous, too. So be careful opening these. You might end up having to go to the hospital. So, interesting situation. I'm not disappointed. I mean, if anything... Now I don't have to worry about ruining my original comics to read some of these because I haven't read every single issue. So, I mean, if anything, it gives you a chance to have a less valuable... Like, I mean, honestly, my number 1 issue, I have not taken it out because it's graded, first of all. But now I could read it, so I have a cheaper version of it. So, if anything, it's good to have a cheap way to read the books if you haven't. But overall, the packaging is poor. The comics are damaged. It is a gimmick. It's gonna work, but in my opinion, I would not recommend buying these. Batman Father Damien says Diamond purposely sent the damaged issues to Chris's LCS. That's definitely, I would not be surprised, but that's all right. Like I said, it made an excuse to make a video. I had almost 70 people watching. You never know. Could have been some original art, so I don't have a problem with that at all. Literally, they can be pressed out, so they could be saved. Sorry, my camera almost fell over. But to me, it's just not worth it to spend the extra money because you're talking with shipping and handling, everything. You're talking like $20, $30 plus to have these books pressed. Just to what? Be able to sell them for $5 in another month? No thanks. So it's an overall and experience. I'm a Walking Dead fan. I have every single Walking Dead comic. Knowing what I know now with these all being pretty much damaged and the stains is the worst part. I mean, I can understand the crease because of the backing, but it looks like fingerprints on them. Like somebody was like working out, doing their garden, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, I forgot to pack the comics in the bags. Poor distribution job as far as image is concerned, the packaging and everything. And I know people always want to be like, oh, you can't be negative. You know, we only want to hear positive things. Well, I mean, if you spray perfume on poop, it makes poop smell better, but, you know, you're not going to end up wearing it as perfume. So for me, it's like I want to call out things, even if I'm a fan of them, when they do a subpar job. This, to me, is just another gimmick from Kirkman. He's going to be making a lot of money off of this, basically doing reprints that no one would have bought. I mean, I'll tell you honestly, if these wouldn't have been bagged, and if Kirkman just said, and Image just said, we're going to put the reprints out with a different cover, I seriously doubt these would have gotten the same attention as they were with this. So the gimmick does work for them, so, you know, congratulations on their gimmick, but these are the things I'm kind of warning people about. So my recommendation is I would not recommend buying these. I mean, if you get them at the dollar store in a couple of months, yeah, pick them up because it's worth it for the gimmick. And hey, if you're one of the lucky ones that gets the original art, it would totally make it worth it. But, I mean, for the price you're paying for these, you're better off buying the actual original comic. Because, to be honest, you know, some of the artwork on these, that's, you know, this looks like something that came off of a Christian comic on TV, like a what do they call those? the ink cells or whatever cells they call them. That's what that looks like. I mean, some of these covers, they're not really that great looking. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's not, to me, screaming amazing artwork. And I mean, again, I understand people like J. Scott Campbell. This is the nicest of them all. And even that, I mean, it's okay. I think it's nice, but it's not anything. It's not like the Art Germ work that you see lately. And some of the other artists where they're blowing people away, like the Batgirl 23, 24, and 25 work. I don't remember the artist, but that's beautiful artwork. This stuff, I mean, this is the best of them all, in my opinion. Obviously, I didn't open every one because there were books that went all the way into the upper 100s. But these just look like they just wanted to have some covers added to a reprint and charge full price for them because they put them in a bag that ultimately ruined the comic. So I know some people will be disappointed that I'm not praising a comic book, but you got to call it for what it is because we deserve quality for the money that we're spending. Alex says, I wish I can go back and buy a bunch of Campbell's Haley's Little Black Books. Again, that was another thing. That's the one I was talking about earlier. I mean, the black and white and the variants and all the things, they were all the same print run. So they make it into a gimmick to get people excited and say, oh, look, I got the Virgin variant, only to find out that it could be the same as the regular, which means it doesn't have any other value other than the fact that somebody might like it better. So Corey says, and I don't know why this is hidden. Let me unhide it. Corey says, hey, Chris, I filmed the intro to my channel. It's not up yet, but I'm going to edit it and put it out. Oh, that's good. I'm glad. Corey, I'm glad you decided to make a channel. It's nice to hear that. So Escargot T80, that sounds like a very fancy robot from the Terminator series, says, thank you for the previous eBay tips, Chris. I used some of them, was able to get myself great deals on 2018 Most Wanted list. That's awesome. I'm very glad to hear that. And if anybody doesn't know about that, I have a playlist where there's a section that I give my advice, my tips, and some of my secrets on how to win on eBay. And yes, Batman, thank you. He says, Batman, father of Damien, says the Batgirls, I believe, were Middleton art. Yes, thank you for that. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. To me, that's great art. That Art Germ work, the Middleton art, to me, that's beautiful. This stuff, I mean, I could never draw it. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's horrible, because if I tried to draw it, I mean, I don't even have the talent to do this. I can't even do the logo. So, you know, I can't really speak, but, you know, I am entitled to my opinion, and just remember, that's all it is. So let me do today's surprise subscriber shout-out, because I know people don't want to just hear me criticizing comics. I know people love comics, but you know what? To each their own. To me, this was something that I don't regret, but knowing what I know now, I wouldn't buy these over again. I wouldn't go back to buy more, I can tell you that. All right, so today's surprise subscriber shout-out. I am actually, because he's the first one that caught my attention with this. So Alex the Comic Hoarder, you are today's surprise subscriber shout-out. He does have a great channel. He actually does auctions, and I was the first one I've checked out since I stopped doing mine a couple of years ago. I thought that was very interesting what he was doing. So if you want to post a link, Alex, to your channel on this video when it uploads, please do. I do not mind helping other channels, especially good ones that are positive for this community. So by all means, please do that. And that's it. So hopefully people enjoy this. And Johnny Future says, do you have Facebook? Yes, I do. If you go to my main page where you see the big banner, in the bottom corner, it'll show the little Facebook icon. You can click on there, and it will take you to my page, because there's a couple of troll pages that people made. So make sure you click on mine. You'll see it has my banner that you see in my little circle. So it has that picture of the We Love Comics. So check that out. And yeah, Corey, thank you. If anybody wants to thumb it up, they can. And Connie says, thank you for all my Goog tips. Well, if you want a tip on Googs, I don't know what that is, but I'm glad I was able to give you some tips on it. And let me just read one or two more before I go. I don't want anybody to think I'm missing them. Sequential Geek says, yeah, that's why I canceled my eBay and PayPal. The shipping experiences were bad. Trying to deal with customer service is terrible. To be honest, I don't have any problems with eBay. I've had problems with eBay sellers. As a matter of fact, I finally just got my money back for that Amazing Spider-Man #9. And here's the funny part. I may be ending up getting that comic back even though I got the refund, because the post office tried to deliver it to the person's address, and they sicked their dogs onto the postal worker, so they couldn't deliver it. They tried to go back 2 other times, and the person said it's the wrong address. So I actually called eBay and explained the situation, what was going on, and I said, well, what happens if that comic now comes back? Because this person was actually trying to deliberately keep the postal worker from delivering it. He says, well, you made the attempt, you sent it back, you're going to get your money back, and if the comic comes back to you, you can keep it. So if you don't know about the situation, what happened was a seller, without telling me, maybe they didn't know, but considering what happened afterwards, I'm inclined to think that they did know, but the book ended up being trimmed. Now, I know that because I know a lot about comics. I make sure I look at the books, and you could see the pages were on a slant, very smoothly trimmed, that were uneven with the cover, front and back. So when I called him out on it, he didn't respond. And actually, eBay saw the messages. And this is the one thing to protect yourself, because you'll have sellers that'll flat out lie. Like this person, and I'll tell you, he flat out lied. They can see all the messages that you send to each other. So the seller basically tried to make, when I finally made a report after waiting a couple of days and that person not responding. I tried to do it civilly. I said, all right, I guess I'll go through eBay and have them handle it. So after I sent it, he waited until the very last day to respond. And he said, oh, this person didn't even know that the page, because there was a last page missing on it, which I knew about. And he tried to make a claim that, oh, he's saying it's trimmed, but he's saying he didn't even know that the last page was missing. Then I had eBay check our messages, and before this whole thing transpired, I sent him a message saying, when I bought the comic, I knew that the last page was missing. I didn't have a problem with it for the price because it was a ad page and it didn't affect the story. So for the price I was going to pay for it, I didn't have a problem with it. But I said I did have a problem with the fact that it was trimmed. Obviously it was trimmed. You could see it. So the person actually tried to lie, and eBay all they had to do was go on the record to check the messages to see that I indeed know that the missing page was there. So ultimately I won. They got their comic back, and I actually may get it back, which means, according to eBay, that not only did I get my money back, but because they sicked their dogs on the postal workers for 3 days straight, and they couldn't deliver the package, that it was considered delivered, and that's their fault that they didn't want it. So this is the one thing I want to tell people about eBay. eBay can be a good experience or a bad experience depending on you. And this is why I tell people all the time, knowledge is power. And that's any aspect of life. If you don't know the difference between a trim book and a regular book, you're hurting yourself. If you don't know, color touch is going to be a little bit harder, especially when it's professionally done. I'm not saying I'm going to sit here and I'm going to be able to spot everything, because you saw my Hulk, one of my Hulk 181s came back restored that I wasn't aware of. And I don't know if the seller was, but again, after I confronted them, they just disappear. But the whole point is that you could protect yourself if you know what to look for and you spot it. There have been books where I opened it up and half the pages are missing. As soon as I lifted it up, I could feel, all right, this book does not feel as heavy as it should. So you have to get more knowledge about your books. And the only way to do that is through experience and through research. But eBay gives you 30 days to find it. PayPal gives you 6 months. So even if 30 days goes past on eBay, you could still file a complaint with PayPal. So like, for example, if you get a book from eBay, you automatically send it in to, let's say, CGC or CBCS or PGX to get it graded. It comes back 3 months later restored, and they didn't mention it. Well, now, even though the 30 days has passed on eBay, you could still file with PayPal. So there's always ways to protect yourself, but if you don't check, then there's nothing to report. So a criminal or a dishonest person only gets away with it if you do nothing. Now, with that being said, I'm not suggesting everybody that has a situation like that is being dishonest. Some people may just not know. But like they say, by their deeds you shall know them. So this person, when I confronted him privately, didn't respond. When I reported the incident, he didn't respond until the very last day. Then made a false claim saying that I didn't know about something that I literally had proof of and showed it to eBay. Then when he finally agrees, again, the last day it says, okay, you can return it before eBay makes an automatic decision. Then for 3 days straight, he literally sicks his dogs on the postal workers so they are unable to return it, thinking, oh, well, you know, now I'll have to get the comic and I'll have to give him his money back. Now I'm getting my money back and I might be getting the comic. So sometimes people do the wrong thing and sometimes people just don't know. But you're the one that pays the price if you do not know what you're looking at. If you cannot tell the difference between a first print and a second print, or a trim book, or a book that's not trimmed. These are things you have to look for. So don't let people take advantage of you, and don't let mistakes affect you. Because even if the person absolutely didn't know what they were selling, even though it's their due diligence, they're supposed to do the research of what they're selling. If they fail to do that, it now rests on your shoulders. So if you just unbox something out of a box and then just put it in a bag and board and then just put it in your comic book, you know, box and then leave it there, and then a year later you find out it's graded, there's nothing you can do about it. So, I mean, Alex Comic Quarter says, and that's nice, he says, I really do hope you get the book back. If I do, I do. I mean, I'm not trying to cheat anybody. I do. There's a reason why on my eBay account I have a 100% rating. Because I do things right. I've been with eBay since 2004. And they bend over backwards for me because they see time and time again, I make sure everything's written down. I make sure I am communicating with the seller before I do any kind of filing. I do it professionally. You know, once in a while I'll get angry. There was one person that I got really overboard angry with, and I apologized. You know, sometimes you make mistakes. It's what you do afterwards when you realize you've made them. But if I get the comic back, that's great. But if I don't, you know what? My goal wasn't to try and send it back so I can get a comic back. I mean, I was literally ready to get my money back and he can have his comic. Now, the one I also found out is this is not the first time that book was returned. So I found out through eBay that at least one other time, if not 2 other times, that same book was returned by another seller or by another buyer. So to me, that kind of leads me to believe that this person knows what they're trying to sell and they're hoping to sell it to somebody who doesn't know or doesn't bother to check. So it's on you to be responsible. Don't just assume that somebody knows what they're doing. And also don't just assume that just because somebody writes no returns, that you can't do it if somebody is doing the wrong thing. Now, with that being said, do not be dishonest. Do not have what they call the regrets after you make a purchase and say, oh, I'll just return it and make up a story. If you do that, you're being dishonest, you're taking advantage of the system, and that is not being honorable. So I don't want anybody to ever just say, oh, well, I can use this system and I can take advantage of it and just, well, I have buyer's remorse. I want to get my money back and return the comic. That is not being fair. That is not being right. And that puts a bad reputation. And I can understand why some sellers get a little worried because there are some bad apples out there. So I would never, ever tell anybody to return a comic just because you had second thoughts, because you know you could beat the system. That is unethical, and I don't recommend it. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Anticlimactic in the end, but hey, if somebody learned something from a statement I made right now, then it was worth it. I got people here all talking, you know, very nice to each other, having a communication, and Darren Raymond says, has the unbagging happened yet? Yes. So you missed that, but that doesn't mean you can't watch it when it uploads, but I can tell you right now, it's not majorly exciting. So my overall opinion for these Walking Dead issues, wait until 5 or 6 months from now when they're in the dollar bins. But I'll tell you at this point, most people won't even buy them. So if you like reprints and the excitement of cutting open a bag, these are for you. So thank you very much, Darren, Alex, G, Adrian, Johnny. Let me scroll up a little bit. I want to say goodbye to everybody. Well, as many as I can. Florence, always good to see you here. Sequential Geek, always good to see your comments. Corey, Connie, Let's see. Manny, the comic hunter, Jeremy, Johnny, Steve Rogers. Oh, and by the way, well, Steve Rogers is here. That's awesome, Captain America. The other day I was doing a thank you to everybody, and I missed one. So Monk's Den, if you watch this, I know you're not here live right now, but if you watch this later on, quick shout out to you, Monk's Den. I didn't want you to think I purposely missed you. When I was going through it, I actually went over yours. So that's it. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Check out Alex's channel, and if anybody else on my channel does videos, post a link. I will approve them, provided they are not to some porn site or anything, because I will check. So thanks for watching. Have a great day. And don't forget, it's not you, it's not I, it's We Love Comics. Even corny little gimmicks meant to take all your money. Have a good day, ladies and gentlemen. Happy collecting.